Grab yourself a warm cup of coffee or tea or whatever you need to relax. I just burped, ew. And let's get ready to talk about what it means or what are the true signs of being an empath. First, what is an empath? An empath is a person with the capability to understand or feel what another person is experiencing. That is to place their self in another person's shoes. An empath is someone who feels as if they can feel other people's emotions or feelings. An empath can sense someone else's energy. They can feel people's emotions and true intentions. They are often very intuitive. I have known for a long time that I myself am an empath, and the more I looked into it, the more I realized how many misconceptions there are around the word empath. I thought it meant that it was something very negative, that I was just overly sensitive and was crying all the time and cared too much about others in a way that it was debilitating to myself. But I realized empaths are special people that the world needs. And often the people, even if they aren't an empath, don't realize that they may hear the word empath and think it's something strange or abnormal. But the people they tend to rely on the most and open up to the most and get the most advice from and feel the most care from, a lot of them probably happen to be empaths. Now, there are lots of different traits about empaths. Obviously, we're all unique and different human beings, but from the research I have gathered and the books I've read and everything like that, here are the top 5 key traits that are unmistakable when it comes to being an empath. Number 1, empaths really do feel other people's emotions. And I don't just mean like you can pick up on someone else's emotion across the room if they were crying. Most people, if they saw someone else crying, would understand that person was sad. But as an empath, you really can feel what another person is feeling. When someone is telling you about their life story and it's really sad, you develop extremely sad feelings. And if you are an untrained empath like I was until very recently, and I'm still working on it, I'm obviously not perfect and I'm still figuring it out, but when you are an untrained empath, it can be really debilitating because it can be really confusing when you're feeling all of these emotions when you're around specific people. You often start to feel drained around other people because you're always picking up on how they're feeling. When people are happy, it makes you really happy. When people are angry, it makes you really, really angry. So it does control a lot of your life until you learn, which I will teach you in the next video, not the next video, but very, very soon, how to block out other people's emotions and identify your emotions versus someone else. But yes, the very first key trait is being able to truly feel other people's emotions. Number 2, they have a very strong intuition, which is why I believe empaths are such great manifestors. I do believe this has helped me in my life because I have these little inklings or light bulb moments pretty often when it comes to my career, my life, about things that I should do. And typically when I follow those things, they have turned out really well for me. When I had an inkling to turn up the radio when everyone in the car was talking, it ended up being about a contest where you could win $70,000 in a free apartment. And even though everyone around me was like, oh, no one ever wins those, don't go out of your way to do that, I had an intuitive feeling to enter and I won. I felt myself being pulled to the state of Ohio when I was from Georgia and had never even really been to Ohio, and I got a job there and I moved, and then I met my husband, who I consider my soulmate. Number 3, empaths are human lie detectors. Ask my husband. You cannot get anything across me. That is why I am very selective with my friends, family members, relationships, because I know when people are lying to me, and you might as well. I know when people are being fake or if they're being very genuine and real. I can really tell when I'm talking to someone or when I meet someone what their true intentions are. It can also happen in places, not just with people, but you can kind of tell if the vibe of a certain place is a good vibe or if it's a bad vibe. Pause, and before we move on to the next tip, if you want to learn more about being an empath and you want to know how to use your empath abilities for the greater good of other people around you and your own life, make sure to hit that thumbs up button so I know that you are interested. Number 4 is one that I used to feel this way, but I have learned to slowly over time get through it, but it is tough, and it is you avoid or you get stressed out in large crowds. I used to go to concerts and stuff, and I would sometimes leave early because I would get so stressed out and overwhelmed. People used to always ask me like, why haven't you gone to Coachella and you live in California, or why don't you do this or do that? And it was because those situations really stressed me out. I used to even hate going to the movie theater because something about being around all those different people all the different energy and the different vibes of a place really, really stressed me out, and it would make me feel very overwhelmed. However, just like all of these, there are ways to work on that and learn to separate your energy from other people. But if you are beginning to figure out you are an empath and you haven't figured out how to control that yet, it can be very overwhelming in large crowds or groups. Number 5 is absolutely me. You like to recharge, sometimes in nature or just all by yourself. If you notice, when I went to the mountains recently, I was the happiest and healthiest I've ever been, and I came back and I felt so wonderful. But whenever I'm around large groups of people, friends that don't have the perfect vibe for me, or sometimes just friends that have a great vibe, or just lots of different people, influencer events, whatever it is, I tend to need to recharge. I can't hang out with a bunch of friends and the next day just feel wonderful. I tend to hang out with a bunch of friends and then I need a day to kind of breathe by myself and be alone. That doesn't mean I don't work and do my stuff. I just need some time by myself. I remember when I first started to understand that I was an empath, I was on this influencer trip in Miami, Florida a few years ago, and one night of the trip there was like a party and we all went to the Versace mansion and I got to meet the cast of Riverdale, and it was really, really amazing, and I got to do awesome things that I was really happy to be able to do and grateful for those experiences. But when I got home, I just burst out crying and was sobbing, and Noah was like, wait, I thought you had such a good time. He was with me and I'm like, I did have such a good time. I just have to release all these emotions I'm feeling. That is literally what I said, and he was like, what emotions? I'm like, I don't know, even though I'm really happy, there's like some sadness and stress and confusion and overwhelming feelings in me, and I just feel like if I cry and take a nap, I can let it go. And I cried, I took a nap, I took a bath, and I let it go. And that is actually what prompted me to look up what was going on and discover that I was an empath a few years ago. So first, let me know in the comments, did you identify with any of these traits so far? Do you feel like you are an empath? Have you had an inkling that you're an empath? Let me know down below, and let me know what you're trying to figure out when it comes to being an empath. How to control yourself from negative people or block negative people, how to control your own emotions, how to manifest being an empath, anything like that that you wanna see, I want to know. And of course, if you don't want to miss any uploads from me, I am now uploading 2 times a week. All you have to do is press that subscribe button down below and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out. I'll talk to you next time. Love you very much. Bye.